Seeing a long stretch of secondary dunes being transformed into a scarred, dusty landscape, as shown here at Exxaro Resources Hillendale mine, just 20 kilometers south of Mtunzini, is what residents in the small adjoining ecotourism resort along the KwaZulu-Natal north coast were hoping to avoid, as the mid-June expiry date for the company's mining license drew closer. But their hopes were dashed when the mining company did an about turn. The rising world demand for titanium dioxide and zircon, along with the projections that prices would peak by 2013, induced the mine to revise their plan to develop the Fairbreeze mineral sands project, a mere 100 meters away from the town's nearest residents. So successful has it been that in 1995, the entire town was declared a conservancy. Now, with the threat of mining on its doorstep, the very character of this town is set to change from a peaceful eco-tourist retreat to one impacted on by noise, traffic, dust and unsightly slime dams.
I think it's lunacy. Hillendale is available, everyone can see it. To think that operation will come within 100 meters of Mtunzini town is lunacy.
If the mining company has its way, the town will be sandwiched in the middle of a 40-kilometer stretch of open-cast mining.
Exxaro are presently mining Hillendale, which is about 20 kilometers north of Mtunzini. Mtunzini, we believe, will become a mining town in the middle of huge open-cast sand dune mining. We don't understand why Exxaro have been allowed to do a basic assessment report instead of a full environmental impact study.
But it's not only the mining path, it's the residue of the mining process used by Exxaro, which will form two massive slimes dams that the residents are angry about. This mega slimes dam will start round about here. Then it'll go all the way to where you see that sugar cane in the distance. It'll take up that wetland there. Then it'll go all the way to the edge of those trees and run parallel to the highway for about 4 kilometers. A site visit to the wetland with WESA Conservation Manager Bianca McKelvey brought home the full impact of what is actually going to happen here.
Wetlands are actually protected in South Africa through a number of different acts and regulations, but there's certainly nothing unlawful about applying to transform a wetland, and this kind of transformation, where you'd have several tons of sand on top of the wetland system, would definitely be a permanent transformation. If you start to interrupt the way that groundwater moves through this system, it will start to change the way that these systems behave. For the most part, when you're interrupting groundwater, you end up drying out the system substantially.
One of the areas likely to be affected is the Twinstreams Conservancy, with its educational centre and indigenous nursery, where legendary conservationist Ian Garland was responsible for the planting of over 80,000 trees in the catchment area and the town of Mtunzini.
We have a grave concern about the nursery and the future of the nursery. The groundwater that we use for irrigating the nursery could very well be disturbed. To leave a legacy like we see here today is such an important part of, the South African landscape.
What concerns me about this mining in this immediate area is the effect it's going to have on aviatourism. Birders from all over the world drop in at Mtunzini to look at the bird specials that occur here. I really don't think that any country that has an interest in tourism and aviatourism should allow mining companies to engulf a small little pristine town like this.
Another major concern for residents and conservationists alike is Exxaro's ability to rehabilitate what they've mined.
This slimes dam's been here for 8 to 10 years since they started mining this Hillendale area. Bear in mind, you can't see the whole of the dam. It's about 150 hectares in size, which is a quarter of the size of the proposed Fairbreeze slimes dam. And after 8 years, we see no signs of rehabilitation whatsoever on this dam.
With all 5 ore bodies being mined, a bigger return water dam, a bigger primary wet plant, much more water being used, the diameter of the pipe is bigger. In a town where we've got water shortages, in an environment where we have water shortages, we just feel everything needs to be addressed.
But one needs to ask if this short-term, low-labour form of mining, which has such a major impact on the environment, is really worth sacrificing our coastline for, especially as it supports ecotourism, an industry which has proved time and again to be a far more economically lucrative and sustainable alternative to mining.